Good morning, councillors and members of the public. This is a meeting of the Licensing Subcommittee B. The members of the subcommittee are as listed on the front of the agenda. Could I call for nominations for chairman of the subcommittee, please? If that's agreed, thank you. Councillor Goodrich, would you like to take
Thank you very much indeed. Let's move on to item 2, which is the Licensing Act 2003 application for street trading consent. Milford and Whitley Limited, Church Road, Milford, Godalming. Before we get into that, perhaps we should do some introductions. I'm Councillor Michael Goodrich, Councillor for Warnosh and Blackheath, and on my right is
Councillor James from Chiddingfold and Dunsfold.
And Councillor David Munro representing Frensham, Dockenfield and Tilford Ward.
And then we have officers.
Fiona Cameron, Democratic Services Manager.
Gillian Carson-Jones, Legal Services.
Holly Appleton, Senior Environmental Health Officer.
And perhaps the applicants would like to introduce themselves.
My name is Mehmet Dengiz. I'm the applicant of the license.
My name is Phyllis, Keith's wife.
My name is Graham Lee, Managing Director of Town and Country Planning Partnership Limited. Advising my client on this application. I wrote a letter of support, which hopefully you might have seen, but I wrote it at 4 o'clock this morning, so perhaps you haven't seen it yet.
We'll try and get you back to bed shortly then. And Councillor Gale.
Yes, I'm Councillor Maxine Gale. I'm the Waverley Borough Councillor for Milford Ward, and I'm also a Whitley Parish Councillor.
Right, perhaps could you introduce these?
On the 3rd of February 2023, an application for the renewal of a street trading consent was received from Mr. Dengiz, trading as Milford and Whitley Limited, to operate a fast food van from Church Road, Milford. Consent had previously been granted for the year ending 1st of March 2023. The proposed trading hours are daily between 5 p.m. and 11 p.m. In line with the Council's street trading policy, the application was circulated for public consultation for 28 days from the 7th of February to the 6th of March. 4 responses to this consultation were received. 1 advisory from the fire service, 2 in support from the parish council and a local councillor, and 1 objection from Surrey County Council Highways, who objected on safety related grounds and to the trading location being on a footpath. Due to this objection, the application must now be determined by the licensing committee.
Thank you very much. And just to make it clear, I mean, the hearing will be formal but relaxed and enable the committee to reach a judgment which, so far as possible, is acceptable to all parties within the rules and guidelines that we have. I would now like to invite the applicants to set out their case, please.
Could I just interject?
Yes,
here, sir? Thank you very much. Councillor over there has very kindly offered to support this case.
Yeah.
I just wondered with the protocol whether the councillor should set the case or.
And
no?
I think I prefer the applicants to set their case so that they can tell us the history, how long they've been doing it, any problems they've had while they've been operating the license so far, and any of that relevant history as facts. And then we'll move on to witnesses in support, and then we'll deal with the objector, who is not here, I don't think. So that should be the sort of rough procedure.
I started trading in Waverley April 2006 in Hazelmere. And after we had a dispute with our business partner, I left the business and started in Milford in December 2013. After trading there almost 5.5 years, I applied to relocate the position of the van on the Church Road, the original location at the moment. And when I got response from the license, I purchased a new van for that location because I was using a trailer before. It wasn't suitable for the new location. When I have been set, it has been okay for the new location, I moved to my new location August 2019. And I believe the legislation has been changed April 2021 because another food van has caused lots of trouble in the area. After that, I made my application last year and it has been granted a renewal. And there was one objection from Surrey Police, which is the van they think as a contributing factor to the antisocial behavior in the area. We have been through a committee meeting last year and we had it, rather than contributing factor, it's a deterring factor to the antisocial behavior in the area because as long as I started with my new location on Church Road, the antisocial behavior is on the decline. And we got our license, our first license under the new rules last year. And I applied for this year, which is supposed to be a easy go, but we didn't see it's coming from highways this year. And you see the objection for that one, but I'm not the one only parking there. That footpath has been used for residents years and years without any restriction at all. Any questions or any special answer?
Just a question arriving at it. You just mentioned that other residents use it. Am I right in thinking that churchgoers going to the Milford Church use that area? Are you aware of that or not?
Yes, they are using Sunday mornings, which is not my trading hours, and Wednesday night services, and sometimes I think Thursday, maybe.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are using Thursdays nights as well.
Yeah. Okay. And have you had any complaints from members of the public or statutory authorities of any sort since you last was granted your license?
Not at all.
Any questions?
Thank you, Chairman. When you got your licence last year under the new policies, did Surrey Highways object then?
There was only one objection, and it's from Surrey Police. Thank you.
I think now would be appropriate, unless you want to say anything at this stage. Yeah. Yeah. Right, let's go across to Councillor Gale. Councillor Gale.
Thank you, Chair. I have actually circulated some documents so that sort of prior knowledge was known about the area and bits and pieces. And as you probably realise, as ward councillor for Milford, Mehmet, or Keith as we all know him, contacted me regarding an objection to his licence application this year to trade from the very wide area outside of St John's Church on Church Road. He's traded there for some time and was granted a licence under the new scheme to continue last year. I'm sure the committee will agree that having successfully been accepted for a licence to trade in this position last year, after the trading licence changes had been made, as far as Keith was concerned, there would be no reason to suppose his licence application would not be renewed, and he has made certain financial commitments to enable him to continue his business with the clientele he has built up. If the council now do not renew his licence when nothing has changed with this position since the last time it was granted, I consider this to be unreasonable on behalf of the council. In fact, I understand that the council has sought legal advice as to whether committee needed to consider this renewal, given they approved the application last year. Feedback from their solicitors that was given this objection, only the committee could determine this renewal. We therefore come to the objection by Surrey County Council Highways this year, which I believe you've all seen. They state that they have never been consulted for a unit to be sited at this particular spot. By Waverley officers say their objection last year was too late for their comments to be formally considered. Therefore, Surrey County Council Highways now say that the trader should not place his vehicle in this position for the reasons you see in their objection. But to my knowledge, in the past years, they have never tried to move the vendor on or raised any concerns with Waverley about the location. In their objection, they say that a footway is not constructed to take the weight of a vehicle. But this very wide paved area is used by countless vehicles daily and has been since I was at the junior school behind the church. It's quite a long time. It's a drop-off point for the schools, people attending activities and services at the church, people parking to walk to the local working men's club, and many, many other reasons, including taking children to use the play area. In their objection, they do say it's an offence to drive on a footway. All the above drive on the footway and they park. The question here is if this paved area is not adequate for vehicles and cars, and there are a number of trade vehicles which use this area nightly to park on, why have Surrey County Council Highways not moved or stopped this happening? It is an A road, but the traffic moving past is very slow. One of the reasons being there's a bend and there is a roundabout that you're approaching. If the vendor is refused today, I seriously think that Surrey County Council Highways will have to take steps to keep that large paved area free from all vehicles for the reasons that they are trying to give for this refusal, including the vicar. Keith has brought with him today an extensive petition signed by his loyal customers. Milford only has one fish and chip shop as a takeaway, all the others having closed, which means residents in Milford would need to drive to Godalming or Hazelmere to find an alternative, which is not environmentally ideal. And the folks who currently walk to the outlet from the surrounding area would also need to hop in their cars if Keith were moved on. When you look at the lack of food outlets across the villages, Keith is serving many customers from further afield in Whitley, Brook, Wormley, and most likely Chiddingfold, all of whom would need to drive much further to satisfy the needs. As the ward councillor for Milford and Whitley parish councillor, I have never had any complaints about this particular vendor. In fact, Whitley Parish Council have on a number of occasions commented that the area is always tidy and free from litter. I also know that Keith walks through to the playing fields by the church, picking up any litter he thinks his customers may have left behind before he leaves for the day. We also think that the van being there in this position with a number of people visiting in the evening has reduced the antisocial behaviour that the church were witnessing. I hope the committee will consider this application favourably today and help Keith to keep and run a very successful family business. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks very much. Questions?
Thank you very much. I've got two questions, Councillor Gale. One I think you've answered, but I'd just like to confirm. From your extensive knowledge of the area and the community, you've not picked up any objections or any unease about this kebab van. There's no sort of muttering on street corners about the nuisance or anything like that. Did I hear you correctly? Or?
No, none at all, Councillor Munro. No, everyone, I believe, is in favour if you look at the extensive petition that's come
Which
through.
I've seen, yes. Yeah, and the second, allied to that, have you picked up any community concern about the safety aspects? Cars parked close to the customers' cars parked close to the bend and all that sort of thing.
No, because most people actually walk to Keith unless they're passing through, and then they might just hop up onto the pavement and park for 5 or 10 minutes to pick up some food. But no, there are no known problems, I'd say, in that area with the vendor being there.
And I noticed, just to end up, that the objection from Highways is not on safety grounds. It is on driving on the pavement and maintenance ground. Does that sort of add up from your knowledge?
No, the pavement itself is very ancient and has been there many years and has been parked on for as long as I can remember. There is I must say, there is a damaged BT cover there at the moment that's been there for an awful long time, but BT themselves damaged it when they were doing some work, and they've just left a thing over it at the moment. But no, I don't think there's been any damage to that pavement or the roadside or anything.
And I was really just wanting to put to bed the safety aspect. And you think that the Highways objection, in that it doesn't mention safety, is a reasonable one from your knowledge of the community. Sorry to labour the point, but
No,
safety,
no, that's fine.
Safety is important.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't see that there are any safety issues there at all. In fact, there are no known accidents on that stretch of road. It's a very slow road, to be perfectly honest. It's not a fast piece of highway.
Thank you very much.
Right, well, I think that's the case for, so far as the objection is concerned, as we have the letter from the Surrey County Council Highway Authority, which we have all read, which are in our papers, which, as Councillor Munro correctly points out, specifically talks about permission and of vehicles parking on footways. Could I ask our legal department whether it is relevant to our deliberations, property rights and so on?
It may assist the committee this morning if I confirm the definition of street trading. It's selling or exposing for sale of any articles, including a living thing in a street. And that's under paragraph 1.1 of Schedule 4 of the Local Government Miscellaneous Provisions Act 1982. I think there was reference in the papers to the Licensing Act, and that's a typo which I ought to have picked up on earlier. My apologies for that. But street has an extended definition to include any road, footway, beach or other area in which the public have access without payment, and a service area. So that's the position. It's an extended provision, and footway is a path or a way or path for pedestrians, such as a raised walk along the edge of a bridge. That's the sort of dictionary definition. It's not specifically defined in the legislation. So it's a matter for you to consider in light of the policy which is set out, and I think that's been referenced by the applicant, the changes to the street trading policy. That's there to guide the council and applicants regarding the appropriate criteria that would be put in place, and for you to consider on the merits and whether it's appropriate to make any exception to the policy. There has been reference throughout the meeting to licenses and previous licenses, but just to confirm that we operate a consent street. So it's a consent that's being applied for rather than a license as such. And you've obviously heard the applicant's position and the position by those objecting. In terms of the legality of parking on the pavement, only in London, I understand it, is that illegal since 1974, when the Highway Code made it so. Outside London, the position is an advisory one, and individuals should not. And the concerns are raised if it's parked in a dangerous position or causing an unnecessary obstruction. So commonly thinking of those who are more vulnerable users and pedestrians in terms of pavement access and not blocking traffic flow on the road. So that's perhaps of assistance. It is, of course, open to the Highways Authority, and they do have a very helpful website, which I've looked at in preparation for the meeting. They can make or take steps to install, for example, bollards or plant trees to deter parking, and that's very much a matter for them. They sometimes apparently receive requests to convert verges to hard surfaces, but they're also conscious of the negative environmental impact. And that's a document which is reviewed at the end of October of last year and available on their website. I hope that information assists you.
Yes.
Do you mind? Sorry. I wonder if I could just ask, we have to determine licenses, not necessarily consents, against the 4 licensing consideration, public nuisance, etc., etc. From what I hear and from what you say, those 4 licensing conditions are not really in play in this particular application.
That's correct. There isn't a set criteria on which you are to consider applications. It's effectively an application which you would consider on its merits. By way of comparison, there are some guidelines, and the legislation does set out the grounds on which an objection could be made or a refusal of a street trading license. And I'll set those out, for example, but this is a consent street arrangement. So you can add conditions if you feel it's appropriate. You can specify a particular place where a trader should be sited. But I note that there are conditions already which are part of the document that you have before you, which confirm, for example, that if you bear with me a moment. Number 5, the trader should not cause any obstruction of the street or any danger to any persons or vehicles using the street. The trader shall not cause any nuisance or annoyance to any other person, whether that person is using the street or otherwise, or to the occupier of any building in proximity to the consent site. And that's a standard condition which is in place. And obviously you've heard that a consent was granted previously. But the license examples in law, which there are none for a consent arrangement, are that there is not enough space in the street to engage in trading without undue interference or inconvenience to users. There are enough traders in the street selling effectively those wares from goods from other shops which are nearby. There's a desire to trade on fewer days than a minimum which is set. The person is unsuitable by virtue of a conviction. There's been a refusal to pay or a refusal to make themselves available at the site. So that may assist you in terms of your decision making. I hope that is helpful.
Thank you. On the basis that I think we've heard all the evidence, we've seen Councillor Gale has provided her letter and also some photographs we've seen. So I would propose now we'll adjourn to the Mayor's Parlour and we'll be back in 5-10 minutes.
I wonder if the applicant has any final closing remarks.
Yes,
perhaps
true.
it might be sensible to, if you have any comments on the objection or any other remarks you'd like to make.
I read the guidelines last night and it says objections to an application can be made on the following grounds. It is public order, public nuisance, public safety, needs of the area. And the highway is pointing out the weight of my vehicle, but on the guidelines, it doesn't say any particular weight limits or anything like that. And there is also BT vans. There is a Jubilee field. They are looking after the field. The tractors parking on the pavement, not only me. And I'm asking only for 6 hours a day. And I leave the area very clean and tidy every day. We are trying our best to keep our business alive. Thank you.
If I could just come back, that the 4 points that have been highlighted are set out within the guidance, the street trading policy. So that's also something you'll take into consideration in your deliberations, no doubt. Thank you.
But we'll retire. Our legal officer normally comes with us, and also clerks will just take down notes of what we say. Sorry, something else you want to say?
Sorry, it was public order, public nuisance, public safety and needs of the area. And if you read the petition book, lots of people are happy with my service and they say I'm serving the community for a long time. Thank you.
will now retire. contributed this morning. We've carefully considered the matter. This is a consent street, therefore Waverley have to give consent for someone to trade in the way that's being applied for. We have the advantage of what has happened since the last consent was given, which seems to work very satisfactorily without any problems. And therefore the committee are unanimous in agreeing to give their consent again on the same conditions as applied before. Thanks very much. To give you back your paperwork. Okay, that concludes the meeting. Thank you very much.